Welcome back, folks, to the third Explorer Sprint for the Batch 2 MLH Fellowship. Now, the theme for this sprint is going to be ethical data. Now, there's all sorts of stuff down here, but we thought this would be a really interesting theme to go about because ethics are such an important part of technology these days, but it is massively overlooked by so many. Now, can you build a project that helps people, who aren't familiar with how to be ethical with, let's say, per people's data? How can we do stuff to improve making that a little bit easier? Maybe you can build something that allows developers to make working with data much more safe and easier to use so that everyone involved has a good experience. Maybe you can help companies work with data, but they never actually get to see the user's data. It's all completely anonymized and made so that it's all private and secret. Again, there is all sorts of cool things you can think about here, but the main things that we kind of need to, that are really kind of important is that it is so common for companies to not follow the regulations and laws put in place by countries to try and make people use data ethically, because our data is just as valuable as anything else. So maybe you can think of a project that can use data really ethically and, help others work with it. I'm really interested to see what you will do. Now, along with working on ethical stuff, we're also going to be running the Best Use of Divinity prize this sprint. So for those of you who aren't aware, Divinity have given us access to the internet computer as well as their SDKs. So you can use those to help build your projects, such as hosting them in the web and using their SDKs to kind of do other stuff too. Now, if you haven't read about their internet computer, I'd highly recommend reading a little bit more about it. It will let you do all sorts of really cool stuff. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting about, especially with this theme for ethical data, is how you can use the internet computer to kind of help the issue in tech, which has a lot of these kind of big companies having a monopoly over the rest of the industry, such, the big four for a good example of this. So maybe you can build a project on the internet computer that helps kind of detach users' data from projects, makes it a little bit more mainstream and makes it a little bit less of a business advantage. Now, I'll be interested to see what you all do and how you can do really cool things with data, but in a really ethical way with kind of ethics in mind. For those of you who do use the Divinity Prize, you have yourselves the chance to win some NVIDIA Jetson boards, so if that's something you're into, you can definitely check that out too. And for the best prize for the different teams, you'll be able to get yourself some pretty cool swag that will confirm towards the end of the sprint. So that is all for the sprint this time round. We'll also have some sessions though to help you get started. Now, some of these sessions will be related to the theme and some of them will be more generic about getting started in your careers. So you definitely don't want to miss those out. So make sure you've got the additional events calendar ready and rocking so you know when they're coming up. But for ones that we've already got scheduled, on Tuesday we're going to be running a How to Crack the Coding interview workshop with Kunal. So if you're trying to apply to internships and jobs, definitely attend that, where you can learn about how to demystify the interview process and get a little bit of practice. On Wednesday, I'll be doing the code reviews with Robbie and myself. So if you're interested in watching me and Robbie go through some of our old projects that we wrote several years ago, where we didn't really understand how to write code and kind of roasting our own code, but also using it as a good learning opportunity to see how we've improved and how beginners can make those next steps once they've written their first project. How can they then improve that, and what's the kind of easy next step to go from? And then at the end of the week, we'll be doing the Sprint 1 awards, timing to be confirmed, as well as a how is going to university worth it Q&A, which will have myself, John Britton, Kunal, and a couple of other people involved from different perspectives. We're hoping to get someone with a PhD on the panel who's very academic, because people like John Britton, who dropped out of university, versus someone who has spent their entire life in university. It'd be really interesting to hear their two different viewpoints of why university's been valuable for them or maybe not so valuable for them. So definitely want to make sure you stay tuned for that, and all of these sessions will be hosted in Zoom or Twitch, so make sure you check the calendar for where the location is, but you also get announcements in the announcements channel on Discord. Now, that's all from me. If you do have any more questions, let us know in Discord, but that is all from me, and I will see you all a little bit soon. Alright folks, happy hacking!